Hello all, welcome to today's class. I am Sushma D, your tutor from GFGC, Shira. So today we shall continue discussing a wonderful poem written by Indian poetess entitled Lakshman. So without wasting much of our time, let us have a quick recap of the previous class. So in the previous class, we learnt about the poet and the poem and the theme of the poem Lakshman. Lakshman is written by Toru Dutt, who is a Bengali poetess. Her period is 1856 to 1877. She was the first Indian woman poet to write in English and is often referred as the Keats of Indo-English literature. She wrote both in English and French and left behind an impressive legacy of poetry and prose when she died at the age of 21 in the year 1877. She was deeply interested and inspired by Hindu mythology and its legends, characters, gods and goddesses, and this finds ample reflection in her works. She seems to me a cultural icon, someone who helps to understand the modernity of India at a point where India was slowly emerging as a modern nation state. About the poem. So we all know that Lakshman is a part of the collection Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan, and the form of the poem is ballad with 8 lines in each stanza. The entire poem comprises of 22 stanzas. In this particular poem, Toru describes an episode from the epic poem Ramayana and deals with 2 of its main characters, namely Sita and Lakshman. Lakshman is a portrait of the ideal brother, a splendid picture of chivalry and self-control. And whereas Sita in this poem comes across not just as a mythological character as the wife of Rama, but as a human being, a woman to be particular, prone to human emotions and human provocations. Again, as a woman, Sita comes across not as a meek and submissive character, but as an authoritative and dominant person, the one who is aware of her rights, the one who is capable of battling with her rights and getting her demand accomplished. The theme of the poem is derived from the Ramayana. The Ramayana is an ancient Sanskrit epic which follows Prince Rama's quest to rescue his beloved wife Sita from the clutches of Ravana with the help of an army of monkeys. We are all familiar with the story of Ramayana, and in order to understand this poem, we should have a background knowledge connected to the poem, and we have discussed that in the previous class. Let me quickly provide you a brief depiction of Ramayana from where the poem begins. Rama, the prince of Ayodhya, wins the hand of the beautiful princess Sita, but is exiled with her and his brother Lakshmana for 14 years through the plotting of his stepmother Kaikeyi. In the forest, when they stay in Panchavati, Sita is deeply moved by the golden deer roaming around and asks Rama to get it for her. Rama goes in pursuit of the golden deer in spite of the 4 warnings expressed by Lakshman. He guesses that the golden deer is Maricha in disguise sent by Ravana. After a long pursuit, Rama fells the deer with an arrow. While dying, the deer cries out in Rama's voice for help, calling, Hey Sita, Hey Lakshmana. Hearing the cry, Sita mistakes it for Rama's voice. This is where the poem begins. In the previous class, we had even discussed the first 3 stanzas of the poem. The poem is a dramatic dialogue, and the first 3 stanzas depicts Sita, who is so worried, excited, and upset all at once on hearing the voice of her husband Rama calling out for help. Overpowered by fear, she imagines Rama beset with danger and berates Lakshman for standing as if deep in thought when he should be girding on his sword, bow and arrows and speeding to rescue Rama, who is in danger. At his continued silence and inaction, she cries out, Is it my brother that I see? Okay, so this is the gist of the first 3 stanzas where Sita calls Lakshman to rescue Rama. Soon after listening the cry of Rama calling for help by taking the names of Lakshman and Sita. Let us continue further. So in the next 5 stanzas, that is 4th stanza, 5th, 6th stanza, 7th and 8th stanza. So in these 5 stanzas, the poetess depicts Lakshman's disapproval of Sita's doubts of her husband's might. So in the first 3 stanzas, Sita goes on pleading Lakshman in order to rescue Rama, who is eagerly calling for the help to rescue him. But Lakshman did not move to rescue Rama because he has a great confidence in his brother, and he is also for sure that no harm is going to befall on Rama. And he tries to convince and persuade Sita regarding the prowess of Rama and states that no harm is going to befall on Rama in all these 5 stanzas. Okay? Oh, calm thyself, Videhan queen. No cause is there for any fear. Hast thou his prowess never seen? Wipe off for shame that dastard tear. What being of demonian birth could ever brave his mighty arm? Is there a creature on earth that dares to work our hero harm? In this particular stanza, that is in the fourth stanza, he asks Sita to calm herself. He calls Sita as Videhan queen and asks her to calm herself and that there was no reason for fear at all. He says that his brother cannot be killed or defeated so easily. It could be a mistake. And he speaks highly of Rama's courage and tries to make her realize the prowess of Rama by stating and asking Sita, "Hast thou his prowess never seen?" And thus he asks Sita to wipe off those dusted tears. Because being the wife of such a brave man, it is a great shame to Sita to weep or mourn pertaining to the safety of Rama. And he asks Sita, is there a creature on earth that dares to work our hero harm? He calls Rama as hero and even poses a question to Sita that, do you know that there is any creature on earth which dares to work our hero a harm? So it's a rhetorical question and everyone would say that no. The answer lies within the question itself. And by posing such questions, he tries to realize the fact to Sita that Rama is a brave man and nobody can harm him on this earth. Right? In the next two stanzas, that is in 5th and 6th stanza, once again, he goes on speaking very highly of Rama's bravery or courage. The lion and the gracely bear cover when they see his royal look. Sun-staring eagles of the air, his glance of anger cannot brook. Pythons and cobras at his tread, to their most secret coverts glide, bowed to the dust, each serpent head erect before in hooded pride. Rakshasas, Danavas, demons, ghosts, acknowledge in their hearts his might and slink to their remotest course in terror at his very sight. Evil to him, oh, fear it not. Whatever foes against him rise, banish for aye the foolish thought, and be thyself bold, great, and wise. In these two stanzas, by fetching so many references, he tries to make realize the prowess of Rama. So thus by disapproving her doubts, Lakshman really speaks very highly of Rama's courage, so much so that the lion and the bear bend before the royal look of Rama. He even mentions the sun-staring eagle. The sun-staring eagles just can't bear the angry look of Rama. Even the wild animals and the birds just cannot bear the sight or look of Rama. And he proceeds by saying, the deadly cobras and python glides away in shame. He even mentions that the poisonous animals are also going to glide away in shame when they listen the tread of Rama to their particular place. And then he moves on by stating, even Rakshasas, Danavas, demons, ghosts, all these evils are filled with terror at his very sight. And he therefore requests her to be herself, bold, great, and wise, by wiping those dusted tears, by banishing such a foolish thought of the safety of Rama. So in these two stanzas, thoroughly Lakshman goes on speaking highly of the courage of Rama and states that no creature on earth could really harm Rama. It could be wild animals or birds or poisonous animals or even the evil spirits like Rakshasas, Danavas, demons, ghosts. All of them really acknowledge his might in their hearts and they don't even dare to harm Rama. So if that is the case, why to think about the safety of Rama? Instead of that, banish such foolish thought and be yourself. Being the wife of Rama, she should be bold, great, and wise. Okay, moving to next two stanzas. He called for help. Canst thou believe he like a child would shriek for aid, or pray for respite or reprieve? Not of such metal is he made. Delusive was that piercing cry, some trick of magic by the foe. He has a work, he cannot die, beseech me not from hence to go. For here, beside thee, as a god, it was he commanded me to stay, and dangers with my life to ward, if they should come across thy way. Send me not hence, for in this wood, bands scattered of the chains lurk, who on their wrongs and vengeance brood, and wait the hour their will to work. In these two stanzas, that is in 7th and 8th stanza, Lakshman believes that Rama, just like a child, does not call for help. And thus, he speculates that the cry may be raised from or raised by some trickful foe, because he has a work on this earth and he does not die without completing that work. Such a great confidence he has with his brother, and thus he requests his beloved sister-in-law to not to beseech him to rescue Rama. And all the more, he was not willing to disobey his brother's command. So he was not at all interested to disobey the order which has been delivered by Rama when he went in the pursuit of the golden deer. Because he believes that bands have scattered in the forest waiting for their hour to avenge against them. Because he is very for sure that some evil spirits or evil creatures are scattered in that forest waiting for their hour to cause harm to them. And only because of that reason, he goes on requesting Sita not to compel him to go to rescue Rama. So in all these 5 stanzas, Lakshman tries to persuade Sita, and along with it, he even disapproves Sita's doubts of her husband's might. Okay, so that's all for today's session. Let me continue further in my next class. I hope that you have enjoyed the poem. Thank you all.